His mate, his prisoner. Episode 9. Previous episodes are available in playlist, a link is given in the video description. Chapter 87a. Kane. I watch as Gabriella returns with Arthur, but the girl is no longer with them. Where did she go? The last thing I was expecting was for Maya to kiss me in front of her. I couldn't close my eyes during that. All I could see was the hurt on her face while she stared at us. I felt nothing during that. If anything, I've never wanted to get as far away from Maya as I did during that. The look on Giselle's maid's face will haunt me for the rest of my life. It was clear that I didn't like to hurt her. She has always wanted nothing more than for me to be happy. How could I wish to see pain in someone who always wants what's best for me? I don't know what's been happening with Maya lately, but she is nothing like the woman I had fallen deeply in love with. I know that I'm the one to blame for her behavior. If I hadn't bruised her heart over and over again, and if I hadn't failed to protect our baby, she wouldn't have changed so much and become this bitter woman. Where did she go? Isabella asks Gabriella. I'm happy that she asked the question because even I was desperate to know. And I couldn't be the one to ask that question when Maya was right next to me in the water. If I asked, I would only fuel the fire within her. I can see that she's still partly pissed from earlier. I can barely look at her. I'm reminded of what I did to her that caused the horrible change. She said that she wanted to go for a walk to clear her head. And that she will be back in half an hour. She informs everyone. Maya rolls her eyes, and I don't miss it. Another reminder of how much she has changed. Where was the woman I would do anything for? I wanted her back. I didn't want her to be this way. It wasn't how I remembered her to be at all. I'm restless now that I know the girl had walked off in the forest independently with no one by her side. Isn't that a bit too risky since she isn't familiar with this forest? Lucy asks. Someone should have gone with her. I'm glad that Lucy had said exactly what I was thinking. Why didn't Gabriella and Arthur stop her before doing something so stupid? Everyone knew how dangerous these forests were, especially for someone unfamiliar with it. There were always creepy people around, and besides that, she could easily get lost. And she already wasn't in the right state of mind. Why hadn't I seen her going? If I did, I would have stopped everything to get to her and asked her not to go. We said the same thing to her, but she wouldn't listen to us, Gabriella explained as she joined us in the lake. I figured that she wouldn't go far. And I've realized that she might need this. I'm sure she will be okay, Maya adds. She's a big girl, she can handle herself. She doesn't need everyone making a fuss over her. I'm sure she is having a great time while leaving everyone worried about her. While leaving everyone to worry about her. Gabriella asks Maya. She didn't ask for anyone to worry about her. She left to let everyone have a great time. I wish I could say the same for other people. The last sentence was directed at Maya, but she doesn't care. She seems happy that the girl has left. Let's just wait a few minutes, Hunter says. If she doesn't return by then, I think we should go look for her. To make sure that she doesn't hurt herself in these dangerous woods. We need to remember that she is pregnant. The reminder sends chills down my back. Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse. She was pregnant. She could easily slip and fall and hurt both her and her babies. I'm trying hard to mask my frustration over this entire incident, but it's becoming rather difficult to do when I want nothing more than to leave this lake and rush after her. I was angry that no one suggested that we get to her now. They were all back to having fun in the lake. Maya tries to engage me in a hug, but I don't return it. I'm too worried about the girl to focus on her right now. A few minutes passed, and time had never been this slow for me. Each second was torture. When will they decide to pack up their search for her? My eyes turn to the skies when I feel a drop of water touch my head. Ah! I push my hair back with my hand. It was beginning to rain. Things continued to go from bad to worst. She should be back by now, Gabriella says. I can see the worry on her face. And it doesn't look good that it's beginning to rain. Her words make everyone look up to the sky like I'd done a minute ago. Lucy and Austin rush out of the water to place Roman in the vehicle, and I don't waste any time. I use that opportunity to get out of the water as well. I was waiting for the chance to do that. I couldn't stand being in there with Maya. I think we should start looking for her now, Arthur says to Gabriella, and she readily agrees with him. Should we split up? Hunter asks. It doesn't make any sense that we all go in the same direction. This forest is big, and she can be anywhere. We need to follow her scent. Her scent? I couldn't get that thing out of my head. If anyone were to find her quickly, it would be me since I was most familiar with her heavenly scent. What was I going to do if I couldn't find her? And it's not like I could tell anyone here that her scent was branded on my body. No one would be able to understand me. I think everyone pregnant should stay behind, James says as he looks at the women. We will constantly have to worry about you as well. For this search to go by faster, the best thing is for all of you to stay here in case she returns. No. Gabriella exclaims. She's like a sister to me. And she's missing because I didn't stop her when I should have. I want to join the search. I want to look for her as well. Arthur kisses her cheek. If you want to go that badly, you can. Just stick by my side so that I can make sure you don't slip and hurt yourself. I will not slip, she assures him. I can look for her and move fast enough. Arthur pulls me to the side suddenly. He ensures no one can hear us when he says, I think we both know that you're the most familiar with her scent. You will have to be the one to find her. No one will be able to get to her as fast as you would. Somehow or the other, you'll have to let Maya agree to join the search. How did he know? Who would have told him? She told us everything. You don't have to worry. Your secret is safe with us. He assures me. She told them? She must have trusted them entirely for her to confide in them. I'm not about to be angry with her for telling them what happened between us. I believed Arthur when he said he would keep our secret. As far as convincing Maya went, I wasn't worried about that. This was one thing that I wouldn't let Maya stop me from doing. A pregnant woman's life was in danger. I don't care what she has to say. I will be joining that search because, as Arthur had pointed out, I have the best chance of finding her. I'll stay back with Roman and Emma, Isabella says. Someone needs to look after the children. Hunter looks pleased with that. I'm sure he didn't want her to be in that search with how pregnant she was. I'll stay back to keep you company, just in case anything crazy happens. You know how many enemies we have. They're always waiting for the right opportunity to attack us at our weakest points. Eden tells her. She was right. There were always people waiting to attack. It wasn't good to leave Isabella alone with the children, no matter how good she was at fighting. Kane and I can stay back to help watch as well. Maya offers. My jaw clenches. I don't think so, Maya. I have to join the search with everyone else. He's right, Maya, Austin tells her. We need as many of us out there searching for her. I think you can understand that more than anyone else here. She's pregnant. She needs all of our help right now. Maya doesn't look happy that her brother and mate both went against her wishes, but she doesn't try and stop us again. Good. The last thing I wanted was to deal with her attitude at a time like this. Every second would count. The rain was pouring heavily now, and we could barely see or hear each other. It would also make it harder for me to track her scent. What made it worse was that none of us even knew her name. How did we call out to her? We didn't have a name to shout. This wasn't good. It wasn't about to be an easy search, I was sure about that. We hoped that she would somehow find her way back, but chances were slim since half an hour had already passed since we last saw her. Can you hear me? I shout, it's not loud enough in this rain. I can barely see or hear anyone. I'm not sure what directions the rest of the men had gone off into. I was trying my best to pick up on her scent. It wasn't solid because of the rain, but I could still sense it. That at least was a good sign. If I couldn't smell her at all, I would have been a bit more worried than I already was. I shout once more, and still, there isn't a response. My heart is pounding against my chest, and it feels louder than the rain. I'm terrified, actually terrified, that something has happened to her. I pull at my hair and let out a frustrated roar. How long again before I can see her? How long before I can find her and pull her safely into my arms? I can hear howls throughout the woods, and I know that some of the men had switched to their wolves. They must have realized that we had to hurry if we wanted to get to her before any harm could come to her. That is, if she hadn't already been harmed. Another howl rocks the forest. I'm not sure who it belongs to, but they were trying their best to find her. I couldn't let her down. She's been nothing but loving towards me. I can't let anything happen to her. I would never be able to forgive myself. Wherever you are, I swear to you that I will find you. I will protect you. I won't let anything hurt you. I know that she can't hear me, but I meant every single one of those promises. No matter what happened today, I would make sure to bring her to safety. I would have her in my arms again if it's the last thing I do. Austin, I'm not sure what is happening to my heart right now. Why am I so scared that something could have happened to the girl? She was nothing to me. She wasn't my mate, she wasn't my sister, she wasn't related to me in any way at all. She wasn't a friend, and it seemed like Maya didn't like her at all. I usually made it a habit to dislike anyone my siblings didn't like, but I couldn't bring myself to dislike her. She didn't give me any reason to. There was just something about her that made me want to protect her. I felt just as protective over her as I did over Maya. It was an unusual emotion for me, especially since I barely knew her. We've only spoken a few words to each other, yet I'm ready to risk everything to bring her back to us safely. My wolf is searching ferociously, trying to pick up on her scent, but it's hard to find anything in this rain. It's messing with our tracking. And so far, we haven't found anything, no torn clothes, no strand of hair, absolutely zero sign of the girl. And I was beginning to lose my mind. Why did we take so long to start the search? Not once did I think things would have gotten to this point. I knew she had no experience in the forest, and even if she did, she wouldn't have remembered since she'd lost her memory, according to Kane. I rock my head back and howl in pain. Why does it hurt so much? Who is she to me? Another howl rocks the sky, and it sounds like Hunter. I know this wouldn't sound good to the girls back at the lake, but it's not something I can control right now. I need to find her. I need to find her before she gets hurt. I had to. Maya, how could I have been so freaking stupid? I put not only my life in danger but the life of my babies. The rain had caused me to slip and fall, and my ankle was sprained. Everything felt like it was in pain, and I was terrified that I had done something stupid that could threaten the life of my children. I try to get up, but I can't move, not with my ankle like this. I soon realize that it's pointless trying to move. I was only causing more harm to myself by doing this. But what else am I supposed to do? Should I wait here for someone to find me? Would anyone even come looking for me? That was a stupid question. I had people that cared about me now. Of course, they will come looking. I was sure that Gabriella and Arthur would have already started their search. She told me to return in half an hour, and I'm sure that it's already past that time. I didn't want to spoil the picnic for everyone, that's why I decided to leave to clear my mind. Somehow I still managed to ruin everything for them because I'm sure that they're all worried over me by now. Kane always came to my rescue in the past, but I had a feeling that this time would be a bit different. He had Maya now, and he tried his best not to upset her. I'm sure the last thing she wants to see is him coming to my rescue. She won't let him do something to help me, and he won't want to do anything that would disappoint her. Thinking about the two of them was not making this any easier for me. They are why I'm in this mess, to begin with. Because seeing them together was becoming too much of a torture for me. I've always thought that seeing Kane with Giselle was horrible, but seeing him with Maya was 100 times more devastating. I guess it's because I knew that this time he actually loved the woman by his side. I knew that he would do anything for her. But why did it have to be Maya? Why her out of everyone on this planet? I didn't think I despised anyone as much as I disliked Maya. She isn't the person I want Kane to end up with, and it's not just because I want him for myself. It's because I can see straight through her, and she's not as good as everyone wants me to believe she is. There is something terribly wrong with that woman. She was not the same Maya she used to be. I didn't have to know her from the past to see that she wasn't the same. And I'm not sure why it's taking everyone else so long to figure out what I saw. They should have seen what I saw by now. I barely knew her and could tell that she wasn't right in the head. This woman seemed like someone who enjoyed making others unhappy. That alone could say that she was nothing like the woman Kane had fallen in love with. I squeeze my temple as I try to remain calm. The rain was falling heavier than before, pounding against my body. There was lightning and thunder that rocked the skies. If I were terrified of the rain, it would have made things a lot scarier than it was now. It didn't help that I was in nothing but a bikini. At least I didn't have to worry about clothes sticking to my skin with the amount of water all over me. There was mud all around me, and I tried to move again, only to be reminded that it was best I stay in this position at least until the rain had eased up. But from what I could see so far, this rain was not even close to stopping. Why? I asked myself. Why couldn't you have just stayed in the jeep? You didn't have to do this to yourself. My body jumps when I hear a powerful howl ripple through the sounds of the heavy rainfall. My heart skips a beat, and I don't know why that howl sounds so familiar to me. Like I've been listening to it all my life. Who was that? Somehow I know it's a frustrated cry, one to let others know that I was in danger. They were out looking for me. I'm not sure how to get them to come to me. Help! I scream. I'm here. I don't think they will be able to hear me even though I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. Another howl echoed throughout the forest, and I felt so helpless. They were looking for me, and I still had no clue how to alert them of my location. Where are you? I hear someone roar above the pouring rain. My heart jumps, and I know that it's Kane. He's here. I couldn't believe that he'd come looking for me. Part of me thinks that I may be hallucinating. Why would he come looking for me when he knows it would piss Maya off and put his relationship under strain? But when I hear his roar for the second time, I know that I'm not hallucinating. He's here. Kane is here. And he's here for me. My heart swells with joy. Kane! I cry as loud as my body would let me. He was coming. He was coming for me. Maya, I'm almost there. Kane shouts loud enough for me to hear him despite all of the rain still pouring down on us. I'm both nervous and excited to see him. Part of me still couldn't believe that he'd come for me. After witnessing everything between him and Maya, I was sure that he wouldn't have come for me. But how did she react, knowing that Kane had still come to protect me? Was she okay with it, or did he come despite her protests? I knew that wasn't important right now, but I still wished to know. I held my breath when I finally spotted him. His hair is wet and hanging over his forehead, his body covered with raindrops. His eyes are drowned in what seems to be fear. Was he that worried over me? He hasn't spotted me yet, and his eyes are searching his surroundings ferociously in hopes of seeing me. When his gaze finally finds what it's looking for, he doesn't move for a few seconds. He takes in my soaked body lying on the ground, and I think he's checking for injuries. I can practically see the movements of his chest as he finally begins to move. He takes long strides toward me like he can't believe that I'm really in front of him. He falls to the ground beside me and continues to search my body for bruises. What happened? He asks as his hand lightly touches my waist like he's scared that he would hurt me. I try to ignore the intense feelings that immediately follow from his slight touch. I fell, I whisper as I try to fight the tears. I don't know how much damage I've done. I don't know if my babies are okay. Everything hurts. And I sprained my ankle. I can't walk. I tried to move, but it was too painful. His hand travels to my bruised ankle, and he's careful not to hurt me as he examines the damage the fall had done to me. We'll have to get you back to the vehicle quickly. You'll have to see a doctor as soon as we get you home. He tells me. I nod, and I can't stop staring at his face as he continues to examine my body. Why couldn't he be mine? Why did he have to belong to Maya? No one has ever looked after me the way that he does. His actions always warm my heart and make it difficult for me to move forward. He finally stops looking at my body and drags his gaze to my face. Our gazes lock, and I swear I see a hint of intense heat mixed with a desire to protect in their depths. He still wants to protect me, even when he has Maya by his side. My bottom lip trembles as I remember the kisses she gave him earlier. It's what had started this in the first place. I shouldn't have let it get to me. Somehow, I think that I'd fallen straight into her trap. She wanted me to do something stupid that could hurt myself, precisely what I had done. I'd been so caught up in the pain that I didn't stop to think of the consequences of my actions. I'm sorry, I whisper. I'm sorry for making you worry, for making everyone worry. I wasn't thinking. I just got caught up in my feelings, and I didn't know how to control them. I thought I was doing the right thing by leaving. I didn't know that I would end up causing more trouble for the people around me when it's the last thing that I ever wanted to do. Kane gently cups my cheek in his hand. You don't need to apologize. We shouldn't have let you go off on your own. If I had known, I would have found a way to stop you. You're not familiar with this forest. It's expected that something like this could happen. I peer up at him. Would you have truly stopped me? I ask him. I knew that he was with Maya when I left. Possibly still with her. Would he have done as he said and stopped me despite having her near him? Is that even a question? He asks me. Of course, I wouldn't let you walk off in danger. The last thing I want is for anything to happen to you. I bite my lip, trying to find the strength to not fall any stronger for the man in front of me. Please don't do that. He looks startled. Don't do what? Am I hurting you somewhere? I shook my head. Stop being so caring towards me. Stop protecting me every time I'm in danger. Stop running to my side when I call for you. He seems shocked by my words. What are you saying? Why shouldn't I protect you when you need me? Why would you ask for something so preposterous? I look away from his penetrating gaze. I don't want to tell him how I feel. I know that there won't be any return for us if I do something like that. Kane would be forced to keep his distance if he knew how much I wanted him. How much I didn't want him to be with Maya. I knew that her feelings would always come first for him and that telling him how I felt wouldn't make any sense. Hey, he says as he lightly touches my chin and turns me to look at him. What's wrong? Why aren't you answering me? Because I'm scared, I finally confess. He immediately looks concerned at my confession. Scared? He asks. What has you scared? I'm terrified of what would happen to my heart if you keep being so nice to me. Each time that I think I can't fall for you more, you do something like this that makes my heart beat only for you. I know that it's wrong, but I can't control it. And every time that you run to my rescue, it makes these feelings multiply. And I don't know how much of it I can take anymore, Kane. I don't. All of this that I feel. It's all because of you. Only you. No one else. And at times, I feel like it's driving me crazy because you belong to someone else. And I know that you could never belong to me. I don't think I've ever seen him this stunned before. I've managed to shock him into a speechless state. The rain is still pouring heavily, and the water is leaking down his face and onto his bare chest. I don't want to stare, I don't want to be distracted from what I have to tell him. Because since I've opened the lock that trapped my feelings for him, everything came pouring out. He opens his mouth to speak, but nothing comes out. He's still trying to process my confession. I know that it's selfish of me to tell him these things when he'd just found Maya. I know that I have no right, and while I've tried to ignore these feelings, to pretend that they didn't exist, I don't think I can do it anymore. It's too much for me to handle on my own. I don't want to do this to him, but I've already started. How could I stop now? I don't know how much more I can take of seeing you with her, I cry, and this time, there is no stopping the tears flowing down my cheeks. Seeing her with you was one of the hardest things I've ever witnessed. I know that she's the one you love, and I'm sorry I'm telling you these things, but I feel like I can't keep it inside anymore, Kane. It hurts. It hurts so I don't get to finish the rest of my sentence because Kane does the last thing that I'm expecting him to do. He does the one thing I thought he would never let happen between us again. He closes the distance between us and covers my lips with his. At first, I was too stunned to do anything about it. I let him kiss me, and he did so slowly and controlled. His hands on my waist is still gentle, and he's still careful not to hurt me. I know that this doesn't seem right. I know that we shouldn't be doing this while everyone searches for me. But I don't know how to stop it from happening when I want it more than anything else in this world. My body feels like it's finally at peace now that he's touching me. I wrapped my arms around Kane, and I held on for my life, with all the feelings I had bottled up. Since the beginning, I'd had to keep it trapped inside me from the first day my eyes fell on him. It felt good to have some of it out finally. Kane's tongue requested entrance into my mouth, and I happily opened up to him. I felt like I would die when he deepened the kiss. They weren't controlled anymore. His kisses were rough and hungry, like he wanted to swallow all of me. And I knew by now that I would let this man do anything to my body that he wanted to do. I trusted him with everything in me. I knew that he could take me to places I'd only dreamed about. And I was happy to let him. Kane's breathing was loud, and it matched mine perfectly. Something about the rain still pouring down on us made everything more intense. And I can sense that he can feel it too. He can feel how much my body wants him, how much it craves to be this close to him. And still, this isn't enough. I want more of him. I want to give more of myself to him. I want to provide him with all of me. I gasped when Kane bit down on my lip, and I tasted blood. He growls as the taste of my blood mixed with our kiss hits him. His grip on my waist tightens as he picks me up so that I'm now straddling him. There is no mistaking his arousal. Kane is hard and ready for me. And my body is waiting, eager for the chance to have him inside of me finally. I gasp as he begins to rock me back and forth, making me crave for more. This is wrong, Kane growls, it's so wrong, but you're like an addictive drug. I can't get enough of you. The more of you I have, the more I want. My stomach drops at his confession. It's the last thing that I ever expected Cain to admit. He wants me. He wants me just as much as I want him. He may not realize just how much those words mean to me. I've always wanted to hear him say those words to me. This feels too much like a dream, I whisper. I'm scared to wake up. I live for every touch of yours. They're all I can think about. You. Your touch. Everything that has to do with you. Your smile. The power in every stride. The way you look at me. Stop. He growls. Stop before I can't stop myself from taking this any further. Please don't make me do this. I don't want to lose control. Not around you. But I want that. For him to lose control. A howl quakes the raining forest, reminding me that we weren't alone. Cain breaks away from me. He's heard them too. They are close to us, and it's not very smart for us to keep kissing. Not when Maya's brothers are about to find us. Cain knows what we've just done. He knows that there is no going back now. This time there were no excuses. He wasn't drunk, and my life wasn't in so much danger that he had with me to keep me warm like the last time. This was us with our own will. I could see his chest heaving. He knows just as much as I do that we've messed up big time. This was never supposed to happen between us. What are we supposed to do now? How can he look Maya in the face after today? Not that I cared about her feelings after the way she acted around me, but I did care about Cain's. And I knew since the beginning that his heart belonged to her. I knew that this would be an enormous betrayal in his eyes. Cain growls out of nowhere as he untangles my body from his. He runs his hand through his wet hair and paces in front of me. I'd done this to him. I'd somehow managed to make his life more complicated than it already was. I'd promised myself not to do it, but finally, I'd broken that promise. What had I done? I'd let my emotions get the better of me yet again. I'd let it control me, and now I had to watch Cain suffer because of it. I can see the guilt on his face. He doesn't try to hide it. I don't even think that he can hide it. Cain falls to the ground beside me, and I don't have a chance to react as he picks me up into his arms and begins to walk with me. He doesn't say anything, and neither do I. There is nothing left for us to say. We know what we did. And neither of us was proud about it. It doesn't take long for the wolves to catch up with us. Gabriella spots me when I spot her, and she rushes to my side. From the look on her face, I could tell that she was on the verge of tears. Thank the Lord, you're okay, she exclaims. Where did you hurt yourself? She sprained her ankle, Cain answers for me. I was so worried. I'm sorry for letting you go on your own. She apologizes. I should have known better than that. I have plenty of experience in these forests, I should have realized it wasn't the same for you. This is all my fault. I shook my head and hugged her even though Cain was still holding onto me. This isn't your fault. It's mine. I should have known not to walk too far. I knew it was dangerous but still kept going. I would have been fine if the rain didn't come down and made me slip and fall. Gabriella covers her mouth. We need to get a doctor to you right away. She was right. I didn't think I'd done any severe damage, but I wanted to make sure that my babies were not in any danger because of my foolishness. It's the last time I will ever do something like that without thinking. Everyone hurries to get me back to the vehicle, and I held on to Kane knowing that it may be the last time he would ever let me this close to him again after what we'd just done. We both knew that it couldn't happen again. He didn't say it, but the strained look on his face told me all I needed to know. As soon as we reached the lake, everyone surrounded me, asking questions. They were all concerned, and I was grateful that no one was upset that I had ruined a good day. They didn't seem to care about that. All they were concerned about was my well-being. The only person that didn't manage to ask me anything was Maya, and I didn't expect anything different from her. And at this point, I can't blame her because I know that I'd just done something unforgivable. At least no one found it weird that Kane was still holding me. I guess it's because they knew that he was the one that had found me. Whoever saw me first would have been responsible for picking me up since I couldn't walk. He helps me into Arthur's vehicle, and he looks like he doesn't want to let me go. Arthur clears his throat, and it snaps Kane out of his trance. He finally lets go of me and walks back to where Maya's standing. I try to remain calm as Gabriella joins me in the back seat. "Are you okay, Auntie?" Emma asks me as she peeks at me. I nod, "It's just a little bruise. Nothing for you to worry about, sweetie." With how fast everyone was driving, it didn't take us long to reach the palace. There was already a doctor on standby when we exited the vehicle. This time Arthur was the one to help me inside, and I hated to admit that I still wished it was Kane. I can feel his eyes on us as Arthur carries me into the bedroom. I have to wonder if Kane wishes that he was the one holding me. I can't see his expression, but I know he's watching me. I'm not sure whose bedroom I'm in, but it's beautiful. The doctor asked for some privacy as he examined my bruised ankle and checked the condition of my babies. When the report is ready, everyone rushes back into the room. I think we all breathe a sigh of relief when he tells us that my babies are fine and healthy. I touch my stomach and find Kane looking at my hands across the room. He doesn't need to tell me for me to know that he's also relieved that they're okay. Kane was good at many things, but hiding how he felt right now was not one of them. I didn't think he would care for my babies as much as he cared for me, but I was wrong. It's possible that he cared just as much for them as he did for me. I told him to stop doing this. To stop caring. My heart would burst with emotion where he was concerned if he didn't stop his actions. "I'm so happy that both you and your babies are okay," Gabriella says as she grabs my hand in hers. "I'm sorry again. Please stop apologizing," I beg her. "I feel bad every time that you do because I know that I was the one that made a mistake." "You can cheer up now," Arthur tells us both. "She's safe. Everyone is well. We can learn from our mistakes and put it all behind us now." I think that Arthur was right. We didn't have to live in the past. Everyone was safe now, no one was in danger. There was no need for us to be apologizing to each other constantly. Lucy and Isabella join Gabriella and stand on either side of me. "We're so happy to learn that you and your babies are safe. Never scare us like that again." My gaze returns to Kane, and he hasn't looked away from me since. What did this mean for him and me? The secret was out. He knew how I felt about him and Maya. He knew that being with her would break me in two. What would he do about it? Would he finally let me go? I didn't think that there was a chance that Kane would ever choose me over Maya. And I think that alone is the answer that I'm seeking. This was it for us. I'd managed to destroy everything. I'd let my emotions control my actions, and now I had to pay for it. And pay for it, I will. Kane guilt was eating me alive as I looked from Maya to Giselle's maid. One was my mate, the other was a woman I barely knew. The girl's scent was still all over my body. And it was making things so much more harder for me. I'd risked everything with her in the woods under the pouring rain. After everything that I've promised myself, after saying time and time again that I won't hurt Maya again, I'd betrayed her. I'd finally snapped and done the one thing I was terrified of doing. I knew the girl tempted me, I knew that she wasn't someone I could easily ignore. But, I didn't think I would have done what I did today. I didn't know I was that foolish to do something so risky that could ruin everything. Maya had just returned to my life, and while she wasn't the woman I remembered her to be, I still had a duty to love and protect her no matter what. A duty to be faithful. I'd failed at that time and time again. I'd failed to love her, protect her, and even be faithful. I couldn't do a single thing right when it came to Maya. And that was having an awful effect on me. Knowing that I wasn't strong enough to do the things a mate should be able to do. It wasn't that hard for everyone else, why was I incapable of doing what was right? I don't know what came over me in the forest. First, I was terrified that something had happened to the girl. And then I couldn't control myself when I saw her. I was relieved that nothing serious had happened to her while she was out there alone. All I wanted to do was make sure that she was okay. That her babies were okay. I wasn't expecting her to say the things that she had said to me. I could still taste her. I was convinced that my mind was playing games on me. Even the taste of her blood was familiar to me. What was it about her? She looked nothing like Maya, but yet she reminded me more of Maya than Maya did. It made absolutely zero sense to me. I really was about to lose my mind over this. But the taste of her blood along with her lips had undone me. I could have been her right there if Austin and the rest of men hadn't alerted us that they were close. I was so close to being inside of her. So close. But not being able to take her right there and then seemed to bother me more than the consequences of my foolish actions. I'd awakened the beast inside of me, and he wanted her. All now, he wanted her. He wanted her with a passion that threatened to break free any second now. It's all because of you. Her words kept replaying in my head. I always knew that she had feelings for me, but I never knew the extent of those feelings. Now that I knew them, I didn't know what to do with them. That wasn't exactly true. It wasn't that I didn't know what to do with them, it was that I couldn't do anything about them. Not when Maya was still in my life. I was ashamed of my actions. How can I claim to love Maya when I betray her every chance I get? This was never supposed to happen. I was never supposed to KSS the girl. It wasn't supposed to happen when I was drunk, and it most definitely wasn't supposed to happen when I was sober. Even now, while everyone is showering her with love, I can't stop looking her way. And I know she sees me looking. I don't know what's going on in that pretty mind of hers, but I'm completely lost on what was the right thing to do now. She didn't want to see me with Maya, but I belonged to Maya as much as she belonged to me. We'd marked each other. Leaving Maya would break me in two. But something also told me that leaving her would do even more damage. I felt conflicted about what to do. I had a duty to my mate, I didn't have a responsibility to the girl. We weren't bonded mates, it would literally kill Maya if she found out what I did. Giselle's maid, on the other hand, is supposed to be able to handle it better than Maya since we weren't bonded together. But the broken look on her face and the tears in her eyes had said otherwise. Being with Maya was truly hurting her, and the last thing I wanted was to see her hurt. But what was I supposed to do about it? I'm tied to Maya. And I owe her so much after everything she's been through. Every time I think about the ways that I've wronged her, I'm reminded that I need to love and cherish her. I'm reminded that I'm not supposed to love anyone but her. I'm reminded that she deserves me to be good to her for once. Sometimes I felt like it was possible, that I could do it. I could be there for Maya the way that she needs me to. But then this girl walks into my life and rocks my world. It's like a storm that won't go away. Everything is turned upside down when she's around. I forget about the important things and run after her like she's my reason to breathe. I already knew what the right thing to do was, and that was never to touch her again. The next thing would be to beg for Maya's forgiveness. I still couldn't build up the courage to tell her what I'd done. It didn't help that she didn't like Giselle's maid either. Even now, she looked annoyed that everyone was caring for her. Again, her actions are reminding me of how much she has changed. I have to wonder if this is why I'm finding it so hard to connect with her. She isn't herself. If she's not the woman I fell in love with, how can I feel any emotion towards her? Even today, when she had with me to make a point to the girl, I'd felt nothing. And that was unusual for me. Maya had never felt like nothing. Maya always felt like I had in the forest under the pouring rain. That's how I remember what it's like to kiss Maya. How can with a girl I barely knew left more of an impact on me than with my mate? That is something I've never heard about before. I was beginning to wonder if we should bring someone in to check on Maya. Another witch. Someone who can figure out if that blasted woman had done something to her. Something that prevented me from feeling the connection that had always been there. I wasn't sure if anyone else would agree with me. If they didn't, it would almost be impossible for me to make that happen. And if I did something like that, Maya would realize that I was having doubts about our relationship. I didn't want her to feel threatened in any way. I didn't want her to know that I was failing her yet again. I was running out of ideas. I had to figure out what was the right thing to do, and I felt like time was running out on me. I kept saying that I knew what was the right thing to do, but I kept doing the opposite of that. Any chances that I got alone with the girl, I went the other direction. I forgot about values and morals. She was capable of doing that to me. She had that aura about her that drew me in like a spell. My head is spinning with the events from today. My emotions have been on a roller coaster ride. One minute I'm sure that I can treat Maya good and pretend like the girl didn't exist. Then she walks into the picnic in a pretty dress, and she has my full attention. And then she takes that dress off and is left in nothing but a white two-piece that has my pulse quickening. At that moment, I couldn't decide if I wanted to take her in my arms and hide her beautiful body from everyone else around us or shove her into the jeep and have my way with her. Of course, none of that happened or was about to happen with everyone around us. Then Maya kisses me out of nowhere, and the girl ends up getting lost in the forest. I spent minutes searching for her, which happened to be some of the most excruciating minutes of my entire existence. It bothered me that my actions had caused everything to happen. If I hadn't let Maya kiss me in front of her, she wouldn't have been so hurt to the point that she got lost in the forest. But how could I not let Maya with me? She was my mate. I couldn't stop her because it would hurt a girl I barely knew. I kept saying I barely knew her, but my body said otherwise. It felt like we knew her more than I was letting myself believe. And then when I saw her there on the ground, soaked from head to toe and staring at me with wide gorgeous eyes, I lost my mind. I forgot about everything else. I barely knew my name because of the look she gave me. She always looked at me like I was her knight in shining armor. I don't know why it always made me weak. So many things happened today that I can't seem to be able to find a break. And Lord knows I needed one right now. Because no matter how much I thought about what I would have to do, I still couldn't make up my mind. The girls are still talking, and I may have drowned out their conversation because of the many things on my mind. But I'm soon on high alert. There is a bruise on your lip. Lucy points out as she tries to inspect it. How did you get that? Both the girl and I freeze. I know where that bruise came from. From me. When I'd bitten down on it and tasted her sweetness. And I wanted to do it again. I was dying to have another taste. Ah! Maya, I want to shout that Kane was the one that left it there, but I know better than to do that. I can see the tension in his body. The last thing I want to do is cause a scene for him. Admitting that he was the one that left the bruise on my lip while kissing me would cause an uproar. And I was sure that I wouldn't be able to stop Maya's family from attacking him. That's something I would never intentionally do to Kane. I never wanted to see him in any danger because of me. He's done too much for me to let anyone hurt him because of something I've said. We're both looking at each other, and Gabriella squeezes my hand to remind me we have company. I'm grateful that she is here to point me in the right direction because apparently, I was too stupid to know when to stop. I look around me and realize that everyone is still waiting for an answer. What did I tell them? I think it is evident that something had bitten down on my lip from how the wound looked and felt. I had to go with a story that went along with that. I bit down on it when I fell. The pain was too much for me. I lie. I don't know if they believe me, but when no one says anything, I assume that they do. Gabriella and Arthur are the only ones that look a bit skeptical. That was expected since I'd already told them of everything that had happened between Kane and me in the past. And I didn't regret telling them. It felt good having someone to talk to. People that didn't judge me and who wanted what was best for me. It helped that Gabriella also cared a great deal for Kane. I knew that I could trust her because of it. Why did Kane's kisses always make me forget that this world existed? Whenever he kissed me, I forgot about everything else. I stopped caring about doing what was right, all I wanted was for him to keep kissing me. It's something I could never get tired of. If I had a chance, I'd let him kiss me every second of every day. Kane is still looking at me, and the hunger in his eyes makes my knees feel weak. Is he possibly thinking about the kiss like I am? I couldn't get it out of my mind. I wanted everyone but him to leave the room so that we could continue where we had left things between us. His eyes narrow a little, and he shifts restlessly against the wall. It's a good thing that I was already on a bed, or I would have fallen straight with the intensity of his gaze. Why wasn't he looking away from me? Wasn't he worried that someone would see the way he stared? And that's exactly what he's been doing, openly staring at me, like he wanted to devour me whole. I had to clench my thighs together as I tried not to squirm beneath his gaze. Why does he do this? Why does he always look at me that way? He wasn't helping the situation any more than I was. I was beginning to think that we were both screwed. It didn't seem like we had any control when it came to each other. I always thought that it was just me that felt this way, but after the way Cain acted in the forest, it was confirmed that I wasn't the only one that felt these strong emotions between us. He also felt them, and they controlled him just like they did me. What was this thing between us that made us want to risk everything whenever we were alone together? But it wasn't just when we were alone, even now, when we're surrounded, I want to risk everything to be near him. I heard a soft cry from the center of the room that caught all of our attention. I realized who the sound had come from, and immediately I tensed. Maya. What was she up to? She looks like she'd just seen a ghost, or at least she's pretending to have seen one. She suddenly sways on her feet, and Cain snaps his gaze away from me towards her. It's the first time he's looked away from me, and of course, it would be because of her. When he realizes what is happening, he rushes to her side, preventing her from falling. When he picks her up in his arms, I'm shocked to see the victory smile on her face. I'm not sure if anyone else saw it, but I'm stunned and speechless. Did she pretend to faint so that Cain would catch her? Was she so upset that the attention was on me right now? I knew that she was pathetic at times, but this was borderline crazy. She was beginning to make me think that she had lost her mind. I had to have mistaken her smile, right? There is no way that she pretended so that the attention would be taken away from me. But I kept seeing her smile in the back of my mind, and I just knew that this was intentional. She suddenly sways on her feet, and Cain snaps his gaze away from me towards her. It's the first time he's looked away from me, and of course, it would be because of her. When he realizes what is happening, he rushes to her side, preventing her from falling. When he picks her up in his arms, I'm shocked to see the victory smile on her face. I'm not sure if anyone else saw it, but I'm stunned and speechless. Did she pretend to faint so that Cain would catch her? Was she so upset that the attention was on me right now? I knew that she was pathetic at times, but this was borderline crazy. She was beginning to make me think that she had lost her mind. I had to have mistaken her smile, right? There is no way that she pretended so that the attention would be taken away from me. But I kept seeing her smile in the back of my mind, and I just knew that this was intentional. I couldn't believe the nerve of this girl. Everyone were now rushing to her side to make sure that she was okay. And that's what she wanted to happen all along. She was upset that everyone was concerned about me. Since she returned, most of the attention was on her, and she clearly hated that, for once, people were tending to me. Everyone except Gabriella and Arthur. They were both looking at me. I guess they were the only ones that saw what I had just seen. But that was expected. We could see straight through her act. At least I wasn't the only one. I had those two by my side, and they were the best. They stuck by me through it all. And they knew everything about me. Everything except that kiss that happened in the woods. I'm not sure if they would be happy to learn about it, but I didn't want to keep any secrets from Gabriella. She was too kind to me for me to lie to her about anything. Whenever we were alone, I would get the chance to tell her what happened between Kane and me. I can't believe her, Gabriella whispers to me as she looks at Maya. Did she fake it to get attention? That's just unbelievable of her. I didn't think she was that crazy for attention. Arthur looks at them, ensuring that no one can hear our conversation. Something is off about her, he says to us. I can feel it. We need to get someone to keep an eye on her. I think it will be in the best interest of everyone if we keep this to ourselves until we figure out what's wrong with her. I don't think anyone else here might agree with our observations. Because from what I can see, we are the only ones who knew that she just faked that faint. He's right, Gabriella says. I didn't know her before, not like the rest of them, but I know this isn't right. She's not herself. That can't possibly be the Maya I've heard them talk about multiple times before. It's not normal for someone like her to pretend to faint just to get some attention. I agreed with them both. I did believe that something was off. I don't think that Kane would ever fall in love with someone like her. She had changed for the worse. And I don't believe that someone could change that much. The witch must have done something horrible to Maya. I don't know what she did, but we had to find out soon before she caused more trouble for everyone. So far, she hadn't done anything to attack any of us directly, but I wouldn't put it past her. Every time I looked her way, I got these unusual chills. It's like my body is trying to tell me something about the girl. I don't know what it is, but it wasn't anything good. It was weird that the witch had left her in the abandoned castle for us to find. Why hadn't she taken her with her? She'd hidden Maya from everyone for so long just for her to be found alive? It just didn't add up at all. We were missing something. I don't think Kane or anyone realized that finding Maya was just too easy. A witch would never make it that easy for her to be found. I don't know why I didn't think about it before. It's only because of Maya's weird behavior that this thought is now crossing my mind. Something was wrong with her. And if there was something off about her, if the witch had done something to make her act differently, it only meant that Kane was in line to get hurt again. And I would not stand back and let her hurt him. We had to find a way to figure out what went wrong, and we had to do it without anyone suspecting anything. That wouldn't be easy. We would have to find a witch that we could trust. I would think that only a witch would be able to tell if a spell is on her or not. Kane and everyone else is still around Maya, ensuring that she is okay. I can see the worry on their faces, and it annoys me. It annoys me because I know that she'd just pretended. How could she make all these kind people so worked up over nothing? They think that something is wrong with her and she's totally fine. It's not time for you to worry about anything right now, Gabriella warns me. You need to rest. And we aren't going to be able to move forward until you have completely healed and can walk. It was true. I wouldn't be able to help anyone like this. I had to take the time to heal. While I wanted to get to the bottom of everything and help Kane, as well as everyone else that loved Maya, I wouldn't be able to do it in this condition. We should get her to another room, Austin says as he checks her temperature with the back of his hand. James is also next to her, moving the hair from her face and asking her how she is feeling. All the while, Kane is still holding her close to his chest. It hurts because just a few hours ago, I was the one he was holding onto. I was the one he was worried over. I'd felt like the luckiest girl alive to know that he cared so much for me. Now I had to watch him react the same way to another woman. Why did I do this to myself? Whenever I saw them together, I was never able to look away. Even now, I'm staring at how he takes care of her. Kane had this gentle nature about him. But that delicate nature only came out for certain people in his life. If he didn't care for you, he treated you differently. He was only gentle towards a select few, and once you were a part of that list, it made you feel on top of the world. Kane walks out of the room with Maya still in his arms. He doesn't look at me as he leaves. She knew what she was doing, and she seemed good at it. She knew that Kane wouldn't be able to focus on anything else as long as she wasn't well. And that's why she had pretended to faint. What else would she do to get him to commit to her fully? If they were as connected as she wants everyone to think, why does she have to try so hard to get Kane to pay attention to her? Don't pay any attention to them, Gabriella whispers. I think you've been through enough already. Take this time to rest. I sigh, I will. Even though I spoke those words, I knew it wasn't true. I will never be able to stop thinking about them. At least not Kane. He will always be on my mind. Even if I try to push him out, somehow, he will find a way to remind me that he was there, locked in my memories and my heart. Maya, Lucy and everyone else had insisted that I at least stay 2 days with them. It was how long the doctor recommended that I rested for. Given that I could heal quickly, I insisted on leaving with Gabriella and Arthur. But none of them were listening to me. I eventually gave in even though I knew that living in the same house as Maya and Kane were about to be torture. Seeing them together even for a second was painful. How could I survive being around them for 2 days? And I now knew that Maya enjoyed provoking me. She would do anything to make me feel uncomfortable during my stay here, I was sure of it. I hadn't seen Kane since he'd walked out of the room with Maya in his arms earlier. I heard Lucy telling Isabella earlier that things were not looking good and something seemed to be bothering Maya. They had stayed in the room with her along with Kane for hours. The doctor that had looked after me was the same one that they called to check up on her. From what I've heard, Maya didn't want the doctor to see her. She kept screaming and making a fuss. Why wouldn't she want a doctor to see her? Isabella had asked Lucy the same question. Lucy had told her that Maya was still traumatized from losing her baby and didn't want to see a doctor because it reminded her of what had happened to her. The more I heard about Maya, the more I was convinced that the witch had done something to her. I don't believe that losing her baby was causing her to lash out the way she was. It has to be more than that. This Maya seemed vicious and ready to cause trouble. She also looked like she could be a great liar. If she could have lied about fainting or pretended to faint, she is capable of far worse things. If we weren't careful around her, things could get terrible. I'm not sure if Maya's family has started to catch on to her weird behavior, but from the way Isabella spoke to Lucy earlier, she was also beginning to suspect her. I wanted to bring up what I'd talked to Gabriella about but convinced myself that it was best to keep it to ourselves until we had more proof. I didn't want them to think that we were against Maya. I enjoyed spending time with this family. I knew that offending Maya would mean that I was also disrespecting her family. That's the last thing I wanted to do. They were all so kind to me. I wish that Maya didn't have to be someone I disliked being around. I'm suddenly distracted by the painting of wolves on the walls. As I'd said earlier, this room was beautiful. I was in the guest room all along. I didn't have to leave or switch rooms because of this. This room would be mine until I was ready to go. I didn't have a problem staying here. I could spend the entire 2 days locked in this room as long as it meant I didn't have to see Kane and Maya together. It's not like anyone here would understand my pain. I couldn't tell them what I had told Kane. It was something I had to keep to myself. He was the only one other than Gabriella and Arthur that understood what I went through when I saw them together. Gabriella and Arthur had left to go home, and I already felt lonely without them. They didn't want to leave me either, but eventually, they also gave in when Lucy mentioned that they would have their doctor do regular check-ups on me to ensure that my babies indeed were out of any danger. And I wasn't about to protest to that either. I wanted them to be safe after I'd openly done something so stupid that could have taken them from me. I was lucky things weren't worse than a sprained ankle. Arthur and Gabriella had taken Emma with them, and I missed the little angel. There was one good thing about being here, I would get to see baby Roman as much as I wanted. His little smile always melted my heart, and the fact that he liked me made it even better. I sigh as I look out the window to stare at the dark sky. It was already night, and the wind was cold, but I didn't want to move from the bed to close the opened window. Instead, I let myself enjoy the view of the glittering stars. From here, life looked simple. But I knew that it was anything but that. There were always challenges at every corner that you turned. All of my challenges felt like they were connected to Kane. I knew that my life would be more simple without him in it, but if that were the case, I didn't want a simple life. I wanted one where he was happy and by my side. I'm not sure that I could get both things at once. Since the day I opened my eyes and realized that I couldn't remember anything from my past, there have been only 2 things that have given me the strength to fight. One was my babies, and the other was my feelings for Kane. I knew that I didn't want to remember my past if he was not a part of it. And I knew that he was not a part of it since he never once recognized me. No matter how many times my heart felt like it recognized him, he never once said that he knew me. Another sigh leaves my lips as I try to get off the bed. My ankle already felt better, not completely healed but good enough for me to stand on. I wanted something to drink, and I had already drank everything they'd left in the room for me. I was hoping that I didn't run into Maya. I assumed that everyone was probably asleep by now. I didn't hear any talking or any noises at all. It was quiet, and I liked it that way. After a long day, I was glad to have some peacefulness surrounding me. But what would I do if I was unfortunate enough to see her? I'm sure that she would do something to irritate me. It was no use worrying over this when I wasn't even sure I would see anyone when I got out of here. I take another look at the painting. I don't know why I kept looking back at it. There were so many things in this palace that called out to me. I still found it hard to believe that I hadn't been here in the past. There was something so familiar about everything in here. Even the people that lived here seemed close to me, which was crazy to me. It was clear they didn't know me. Again, I was reading too much into things that weren't there. I don't know if my heart wanted me to believe that I belonged to a loving home like this, and maybe that's why it wanted to trick me into believing that everything here was familiar. I slowly made my way out of the room and tried not to knock anything down in the process. I didn't want to do anything that would wake anyone. I knew they would be upset to see me on my feet when they told me not to walk on them. Everyone was extremely caring and made sure to look after me. While I knew they were only looking out for me, I could tell that it was okay if I walked around now. When I open the door, it takes me a moment to realize that I'm not alone. There is someone here. My eyes slowly take in the figure, and I'm unprepared for what I see next. I'm shocked to see Kane standing right there in front of me. But the man in front of me looks nothing like the man I'm so used to seeing. His eyes are red, and his hands are shaking. Not just his hands, his entire body looks like it's losing control. My gaze travels down his body, and it's apparent that something has happened to him. I'm not sure what, but something did happen. His shirt is so badly torn that I can see his chest through the tear. What had he been up to? Did he get in a fight? That couldn't be. If there were a fight, I would have heard something. And as I'd mentioned earlier, everything was quiet and peaceful. There was no one else around us either. I'd looked down the corridor, and we were the only two people standing here. If there had been a fight, I'm sure that Austin and the rest of them would have been by his side. Unless they were the ones fighting him, I studied his face and body for wounds. There wasn't a single one, and I'd made sure to examine him thoroughly. If he was in a fight with someone, I was sure that there would at least be one bruise on him. "What are you doing here?" I whisper. I can't hide the concern from my voice. He's scaring me, and not because I feel threatened by him. I'm scared because I'm worried that something horrible has happened to him. Did Maya do something? Or did something happen to her? "Lock the door," he growls. His words surprise me. Why should I lock my door? Was I in danger? "Kane?" I ask. "What's happening? Is something going on? Do you need my help? Are we in danger?" He doesn't seem to hear my questions. There are so many emotions flashing in his eyes that it's hard to pick up on them. It didn't help that he wasn't giving me an explanation of what was going on. Did something happen to get inside and lock the door now? He roars, cutting me off from saying anything else. I jump at his tone, but I'm not scared of him. I've been around him long enough to know that he won't hurt me. But I also know him well enough to know that something is definitely wrong. I was sure of it now. Kane has never once looked this lost and not in control as he did right now in front of me. Something caused him to become this way. I step toward him even though I know I'm doing the opposite of what he's asking me to do. And Kane wasn't someone that liked when you disobeyed him. But I was used to doing the opposite of what he asked me to do. This wasn't something new. "Something is wrong with you. I know it," I whisper. "What can I do to help? What do you need from me? I'll do anything. Anything that you want as long as it's going to help you with whatever has you this way. Please talk to me, I'm here to listen." "Are you not hearing me?" he demands. He's beginning to look frantic now. "I'm asking you to get inside and lock your door." This was getting on my nerves. How hard was it for him to tell me what had him this way? He should know that I wasn't the type of person to back down when I wanted answers. I wasn't going anywhere until he explained what had him this way. Did he not realize that I cared about him? In what world would I ever leave him looking like this? No. I snap. I'm not going anywhere until you tell me what is wrong with you. I've never seen you behave this strangely before. Something has to be wrong, and I'm not just going to leave you when I know that you need me. He doesn't say anything, and I take that chance to take another step toward him. I don't stop until our bodies are inches apart. His hand is tightened into fists at his sides, and his jaw is clenched. It's another sign that he's in some sort of pain. My closeness seems to affect him more than it usually does. I can see it clearly from the strained look on his face. He was fighting something, and it seemed to be a battle within himself. I hesitantly reach up and cup his cheek in my hand. Tell me, please. What is troubling you? How can I help? I know that I'm repeating the same questions, but he hasn't once answered me. The look on his face tells me that I've finally done it. I've crossed the line he didn't want me to cross. This is your last warning. He growls, and his eyes have turned to complete darkness. If you want me to move, you'll have to do it on your own because I'm not doing it otherwise, I informed him calmly. A loud growl tore from his throat, and it echoed throughout the quiet corridor. I still don't back down, even though that growl was a warning for me. His hands shake even more than before, and it's hard not to miss it. I'm about to ask him if he needs my help once more, but before I can do that, his hands grab my waist in a tight hold. He moved so quickly with me in his arms that it took me a while to realize we were now on the bed. Before I can understand what's happening, Kane's mouth is on my neck. Kane! I gasp when I feel his teeth pierce into my skin. Kane! I shout once more, but he isn't hearing me. I don't think he even knows what he's doing anymore. Or maybe he knows but has lost all control. I feel my eyes roll back in my head as pleasure rushes through my vein as he continues to suck and feed off me. His desperation is somehow flowing into me. I can feel myself begin to want this more than he does. I grab the back of his head and guide him closer to my neck until there is no room for anything to pass between us. I'm not sure what is happening, but I'm not going to stop him. I can't. Not when I feel this way. Kane, sweet. Divine. Heavenly. Mine. I've lost all control. All. My body has all of the power over me at this time, and I can do nothing about it. It's taking the lead and giving us what we've wanted for a long time now. I'm not sure what had taken over me. One minute I was in the room, and the next, I was in front of her door. I wasn't even aware of how I'd gotten there. I remember just standing there, listening to her heartbeat, slow breaths, and light shuffle on the bed. I don't know how long I was standing there before she finally came out. I remember fighting for control, telling myself that I had finally lost it. Telling myself that it was time to leave before she found me there waiting for her like a stalker. But the desire was too strong for me to ignore, I couldn't fight it any longer. I had kept away for far too long, and it was finally tearing me apart for denying it what it wanted all along. After the taste I had of her in the forest, my body was desperate for more. I wanted her blood. Lord knows I wanted more than just her blood, but right now, it was what I wanted most. Just that one taste in the woods was enough to fuel the desire. It was too late to turn back now. Too late. I couldn't stop even if I wanted to. I tried to warn her. I wanted to frighten her to get her inside and lock her doors. I was using every last bit of self-control I had left to get her to do that for me, but she hadn't listened. I'd practically begged her to get her inside. But did she listen? Of course, she didn't. When does she ever? She never listens to me. It's why we are in this position right now. She's beneath me. Her soft body is beneath mine. My hands are intertwined with hers as I trapped them above us on the pillows. My mouth is pressed against her neck as my teeth pierce her skin. I'm sucking on her, taking her blood, feeding my body what it needs. Our bodies are pressed tightly together, and I could feel every part of her curves against my body. That and the taste of her blood had me harder than I'd ever been in my life. I wouldn't be able to hide my arousal from her. I was hard as stone, I was sure she could feel me against her. I wanted to suck on her neck as I wanted her. The fact that I hadn't done that already told me that I still had some control left. I didn't think I had any. The hopelessness was real, it was very much alive. The last bit of control that I was trying to hold onto, the one that prevented me from getting inside of her, it was barely visible. This happens when you don't feed the hunger inside of you. You eventually snap and lose control. I promised myself that I would never drink another woman's blood after losing Maya. I didn't want anyone else's taste in my mouth but hers. I felt like she also deserved that from me. I wanted to punish myself for losing her, and I was getting good at that punishment. I was getting good at making myself suffer for failing her. And it was working. My plan was working. I hadn't drank blood from anyone else after she went missing. Until now. After getting a taste of the girl's blood earlier, it was over for me. I thought that I was stronger than this. I knew that I wanted more of her, but I didn't think that I would snap the way that I did. I was able to ignore the need to take more of her earlier today. I had managed to put it behind me and focus on other things than tasting her again. But tonight, something snapped within me. All control had left me. And when she didn't lock herself inside like I'd asked her to do for me. When she'd purposefully taken a step toward me and when she'd willingly offered to do anything I wanted, I was happy to take her up on that offer. I knew that her words would have shattered the last bit of self-control I had. How could I ignore her when she offered to give me anything I wanted from her? What man in his right mind would say no to an offer like that from her? Not this selfish man. Selfish was all I was from the beginning. I was greedy when it came to her. I would drop everything just to keep coming back to her, to get more of her, to taste her. To get everything my body was dying for. My body begins to tremble with the need for more of her. Like I said, greedy, it was greedy for her. And it was going to take all that she was offering and more. I was past the point of stopping, I just couldn't stop myself anymore. And I wasn't planning on stopping either. Not after her taste filled my mouth. Eventually, sucking on her neck wasn't enough for me. I was craving more of her sweet blood, and I wanted to take it from more than one part of her body. More. I growl as I suck the last bit of blood from her neck. I watch as some of the blood trails down to her chest. I tightened my hold on her hands above her head as I licked the blood off her soft skin, not stopping until it was all gone. I grab her hair and pull her head back so that I can easily access her mouth. She doesn't have time to prepare as I crush our lips together, biting down on her lips just like I'd done earlier today. Taking more of her. Taking what I craved. Tasting her. Kissing her. Touching her. And even that wasn't enough for me. I was dying for every part of her beautiful body. All because of you. Her words. But they felt like mine. I was losing control. And it was all because of her, no one else. She was the one that made me do things that I had no excuses for. She made me feel things I knew that I shouldn't. She made me want things that were forbidden. She did this to me. She made me want to have all of her. She made me want to do things with her that could possibly make me lose everything that I had, yet she somehow made it feel all worth it. She made me believe that it would be okay as long as I had her. Nothing else would matter. She made me think all of these crazy thoughts. And whenever I was like this with her, those thoughts became more believable. I became blind. I dreamed of the chance for those thoughts to be a reality. That's the power this woman has on me. So much power. More power than I wanted ever to admit. You. I whisper as I suck on her lip, you make me do this. You. No one else but you. She doesn't say anything. She lets me have my way with her without protesting, not even once. Why did she always do this? Why didn't she put up a fight? Why did she make it so easy for me to get caught up in her? She just had to say no to me once, just once. Why couldn't she do that for me? She gasps when I spread her legs and push her dress upwards so that I can get access to her thighs. I drag my body down hers, kissing every inch of her, nibbling on her skin, teasing her, making her think that I'm about to suck but never actually doing it. I keep it up until my lips are above where I wanted them to be. I sink my teeth into her inner thigh. I am taking more of her. I wanted to sink my teeth into every inch of her beautiful body. I wanted to leave my mark on every part of her. I wanted everyone to know that this woman was mine. She should have never offered herself as she did to me. Now I wouldn't stop taking. I was too greedy, too selfish, not to take what she was offering. And now that I knew that she meant every word, it awoke the desire more than ever. She would give me everything I wanted. And she had it all. She had everything that I desired right now. No one else but her could give me what I wanted. And I don't think she knows that. If she did, she would have power over me. She would know how weak she could make me with just one simple word from her pretty mouth. Cain, she cries out as I deepen my sucking motion. It still doesn't feel like enough. I know what my body wants, and I have to find the control to stop it. A whimper leaves her mouth, and she surprises me yet again by burying her hands in my hair and pulling me tighter against her. A low growl escapes my mouth, and I tighten my hold on her body as the blood continues to fill my mouth. Her blood is the purest, sweetest. I pause as a distant memory invades my mind. Maya. I remember doing this to her. I remember her blood tasting precisely like this. And I did the same to her. Taking too much of her, slamming her against the wall, sucking more of her than I deserved. And here I was doing the same thing to the girl within my grasp. If I kept this up, I might do to her exactly what I did to Maya at one point. And it's the last thing I wanted to do. I had to learn from my mistakes, I couldn't repeat them repeatedly. I didn't want to take so much blood from her that she would become weak in front of me. And I had to remember that she'd been through plenty today already. I was not helping the situation. I was making it worse. I was hurting her. It's enough for me to rip my body away from her and scramble right out of there. I got as far away from her as I possibly could. I couldn't stay in that house for the night again. If I did, she would tempt me too much. I would end up straight back in her bedroom, ready to finish what I started. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it to her, and I couldn't do it to Maya. I'd seen how weak Maya was today. She'd fainted in front of me. And at that time, I promised myself to stay away from the girl for her sake. A promise that I'd broken multiple times already. I couldn't even last a few hours. I had already broken it once more. I run a hand down my face in frustration. What had I done? What was wrong with me? Why couldn't I have any sort of control? When would I stop being so weak? Maya, what just happened? Did Kane really just come into my room, spin my entire world out of control, and leave in a split second? How was that even possible? I touch my neck, I'm still stunned at everything that just occurred. It's taking my body some time to recover. The last person I expected to see when I opened my door was Kane. I thought something had happened to him, but I didn't know he needed blood. It's not like I would have stopped him if he'd asked first. I knew he tried to warn me, now I understood why he insisted I lock my door. He was trying to protect me from himself. It's the first time I've ever seen him lose control like that. And it's also the first time I've seen him so terrified of himself. I don't think Kane even trusted his own actions at that point. I may have had more trust in him during that period than he did in himself. I don't think I'll ever forget the look on his face when he realized that nothing was going to stop his body from going after what it wanted. I didn't know what it was at first, but I knew now. My hand travels to my inner thigh. His lips were here just a few minutes ago. I didn't think someone taking my blood would ever feel so pleasurable. My body felt the most relaxed and excited it's ever been during those extraordinarily limited minutes of my life. It was almost like it was happy to give him what he wanted. I shouldn't be surprised by that. I was always happy to provide Kane with anything that he desired. And it wasn't often that he asked anything from me. He didn't even ask for it even though his body was clearly crying out for blood. He ignored his own needs and probably would have been able to stop himself. I had just listened to him and locked the door behind me. We were lucky that no one had heard him. Kane's possessive growls of warning weren't exactly quiet. It had definitely been loud enough for someone to hear. I knew I would have heard it even if I was locked inside the room. And when he'd thrown us both onto the bed, the door was wide open. He hadn't bothered to close it. I don't think at that time Kane was even thinking about shutting the door. He was only concerned about feeding the desire within himself. I'm not sure what came over him. I can't explain why that had happened to him. But I was happy I could help him overcome whatever it was that had caused him to behave that way. I wish that it had lasted longer. Kane was very aroused. I could still feel him between my legs from how much of him I'd felt earlier. I cover my face in frustration. Why did he always do this to me? I would get all hot and needy because of his actions, and then he would rip himself away from me. I already knew the answer to that question. Kane didn't want these things to happen between us. He was conflicted about what he wanted. He had a duty to Maya, and I was getting in the way of that. I sighed. I knew staying here would only lead to more trouble. I didn't think it would have happened like this, but we definitely could have gotten caught if anyone had just passed in front of my room. I couldn't let something like that happen again. At least not for everyone to see us. I didn't want a repeat of what had happened with Giselle also to occur here. Instead of my life being in danger, I was sure that Kane was the one who would be in the most trouble. I hugged the pillow as I tried to calm myself enough to fall asleep. I needed to rest. My body felt weak now that he was gone. I could only hope that Kane was not blaming himself for what had just happened, just like he always does. Kane loved to blame himself, and it was one thing about him that I didn't like. For once, I'll like it if he gives his burden to me as well. It was the next day, and I hadn't slept at all. I couldn't after the events of last night. I kept looking at the door, hoping that Kane would show up again. But he never did. I'm not sure what happened to him after he left the room. But I was worried about him. I forced myself to get out of bed and walk toward the bathroom. There was something I needed to check. I knew what Kane did to me last night was bound to leave evidence on my body. I look at myself in the mirror, and there are indeed bite marks all over me. Marks Kane had left on my body. The most noticeable was on my neck and thigh. I needed to find a way to hide them before Lucy, or anyone else came to check up on me. How could I explain bite marks? I could barely explain the bruise on my lip, one that he had left. There was no way for me to lie about this one. It was too noticeable to be lied on. They would know that a vampire would be responsible for marks such as these. And as far as I knew, Kane was the only hybrid in this palace. It wouldn't take a genius to figure out that he'd fed from me last night. And they would question why he hadn't taken blood from Maya instead. Or even found some other way to quench his thirst. But why hadn't he taken from Maya? She would have been his first option since she was his mate. She should be the one he craved more than anyone else. Why did he come to find me last night? And why was he so scared of himself? Did he think that he wouldn't be able to stop? I knew Kane well enough to know that he could stop himself if needed, just like he did last night. He stopped before he could hurt me. I'm not sure that he would see things the way that I did. In his eyes, he had failed. He was too weak. I know that's what he would be thinking. I wish I could see him and tell him that he is wrong. I rushed back to the bed when I heard a knock on the door. I pull the covers over my body and try to hide my neck with my hair. I couldn't risk anyone seeing the marks Kane left on me. I had to continue to protect him. I don't even think what happened last night was intentional. He didn't want to do what he did. He tried his best to stop it from happening. But I was happy he had lost control. I got to experience another side of him that I absolutely loved. Another knock reminds me that I had company. Come in. I invite whoever it is at the door to enter. Lucy walks into the room with clothes and food in both hands, I wanted to bring these for you myself. She tells me with a smile. Thank you, Lucy, I tell her as I try to reach for it without letting my neck become exposed. I hope my actions aren't making her feel like something was wrong with me. It was hard to hide something so big. And the marks were indeed big. Kane did not play last night at all. When he snapped, there was no stopping him. He took what he wanted without caring about the consequences of his actions. How are you feeling today? She asks me. You look like you haven't slept at all. Was the bed not comfortable enough for you? Or should we get you more pillows? I immediately pale at her question. I hadn't slept because I couldn't stop thinking about Kane. I was also in need of something only he could give to me. He had left before anything more could have happened between us. I'd spent the night feeling restless and needy. Maybe I should have gone after him last night. But I doubt I would have been able to catch him. He moved so quickly that he was out of the room in the blink of an eye. And let's say I did go looking for him and had found him, Kane wouldn't have let me come close to him. I was sure of it. He would have told me that it was unsafe, and he probably would have pushed me away like he'd tried to do last night. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.